Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Mardek, and of course last time we successfully took out the Wicked Soul in the Crimson Peak area here, and we have of course also heard that there is supposedly a Fire Crystal and Fire Temple somewhere in here. However, we are going to hold off on that for the time being. The reason for that is because we now have almost everything that we need for the Soul Cage quest here. We now have the Skull of a Truly Wicked Mortal. We just picked that up. We have a silver core that we got from Dreamwood, and then there's a crystal rose, which I actually think we're going to want to head back up to the northern continent to do. And we, of course, have also picked up everything for the Shaman's Brew as well. So, for that reason, I think, for the moment, we are all set in the southern continent. We will, of course, come back here to see if we can get the Fire Crystal and the Earth Crystal back in Lifewood at some point. But, I think northward we go, and so for that reason, let's use Mardek's warp ability to get ourselves out of here, and we will head up through the warport. So we'll pick up another ticket, of course, and let's just double check as to exactly how many we've used thus far. Welcome to our warport. We provide you with services such as teleporting you to another continent. Please speak to the receptionist beside me to purchase a ticket. Oh, that is true. I'm speaking to the wrong receptionist. Hello there, sir. Would you like to purchase a warp ticket? One party ticket is 100 generic gold coins, and it's good for a one-way trip only. You'll need to buy another to come back. Okay, so one other thing that's coming to mind now, as we are, of course, about to cross over, is that we could, theoretically, go back to Aeropolis to, say, purchase some things from the shop, because I think we still couldn't quite afford all the various weapons that were for sale there. Also, I believe we found one artifact that we could sell to the curator, which neither of those things are urgent per se. However, while we're at least in the area, it might be worth doing that. So yeah, let's make a point of, not buying a ticket and, making everyone at the warport very unhappy with us. So let's just take a second to check this out. How many coins do we have at the moment? Well, 33,000 actually is not that much if you consider just how expensive some of these things have been. I don't recall as to exactly which ones we have and have not picked up, but hopefully when we take another look at what the shop is offering for sale, then that'll be enough of a reminder to us. Let's start off by sending our artifact to the curator, hopefully picking up a fair bit more coins through that process. What a strange mask you have there. Is it made of stone? A tiki mask, is it? I'd be interested in displaying that in my museum, if you'd be so kind as to sell it to me. I will pay 6,600 gold to take that tiki mask off your hands. It's no use to you and deeply interesting to me, so we both win. We have a deal? Sure. Not the most valuable one we've had, but it's up there. In addition to having given him 6 artifacts, did we get any bonus stuff for that? No, unfortunately not. At various points in time, depending on just how many artifacts you have given him, you will of course throw in additional rewards. But yeah, 6,600 is not bad. That brings us to just shy of 40,000. So I know for one thing, there was the shop over here that sold, I believe this is where the stoles are. Yes. Oh, and we can't quite afford... No, we're in fact not even close to affording another one of these super stoles. We did, of course, take the Spirit Stole, the blue one, previously. Solar is currently using it. And at some point in time, that green stole would be really nice to get as well, to give Solar the ability to stack up some additional vitality. But I suppose that will have to wait. Other than that, that was actually not the primary shop I was thinking of. I was more thinking of this one here. So I'm still not sure if we've gotten everything from this. We know we've gotten at least one Aeropolitan Scimitar, because Vern is currently using one. However, we don't have an additional one for Mardek to wield it simultaneously. So there's something to be said for maybe picking up a second. Other than that, we do have at least one Desert Spear, because again, Donovan is currently using it, but Donovan and Charla could both theoretically use having it. So that's not bad. I do think we have picked up a Mighty Axe and 2 moons, so it's mostly a question of whether or not we think it's worthwhile to double up on these. And, you know, I think it probably is. Let's do it. Let's take that. And we'll take this. And it's fortunately not making us completely broke. Other thing I'm noticing is, not sure we've looked at all at this lucky coin. And to be honest with you, I don't recall as to when we picked it up. But it is here. As of when, I couldn't tell you. A coin that supposedly lands more often on its head side than its tail side when flipped, which is rather superstitiously said to grant its holder improved luck. Loot Finder Level 1. So that is a passive ability, and not entirely clear as to what that entails, but maybe it's worth throwing that on someone to give it another look. And we were, of course, stacking a ton of fire-specific things on our characters. The fire pendants didn't even have any specific skills that we were trying to teach many people. Well, Solar might have mastered that, or might not have. Yeah, Solar in theory was still working on mastering that defensive reaction, but Donovan, for example, was already done with it. So, what if, say, we were to throw that on Donovan and just see what happens? Let's take a look. So it costs 4 RP. We would need to get rid of, say, strength and or agility, but that's not a huge loss. Adds 5% to the chance of acquiring any item after battle. So, that is particularly notable for, say, when you're trying to go into areas where you know that enemies have a very low percentage chance of dropping a very valuable item of some variety, but you really want to make it happen. Like, for example, when I was talking about how in Saul's dungeon, there's at least one item that is very helpful, the Kite Shield, for crafting purposes, and it only has a 5% chance to drop. So if you add this to one person, you're already doubling the chances of that happening. If you throw it on additional people, then it becomes far more likely still. So, for that reason, yeah, under specific circumstances, it could be very worthwhile. Of course, in terms of directly affecting how battles play out, not so much. It's a little bit of a meta skill of sorts, kind of like the double gold and double AP, but could be useful, so let's throw it on for the time being. And I think that's more or less the most pressing of things that we might want to get from here, but it's been a long time since we last checked this shop, so let's take another look here. Zantusian scimitars, yes. We should be more than fine on that front, though. We did pass on picking up a magic poker, and I do think this is actually one of those items that might fall under that category of very rare but theoretically possible to get from enemies, because if you remember back in Lifewood, there were some centaurs that did use these. I think they have a very low chance of dropping it, but we did not end up seeing it happen. I could be wrong about that, but again, if that is the case, then all the more reason to use something like the lucky coin. Okay, so with that in mind, that seems like that's probably good enough for us here, because we, of course, can't actually afford that magic poker, and maybe it is worthwhile for us to make a point of trying to actually farm it up through battles. So let's head back to the warport, and this time, we'll make our way over. Okay, so we know what this conversation is all about. Drops us just below 19,000 coins, but should be okay there. So we've used 4 war passes, and we need 5 to get the gold pass. So that's notable because, well, 5 is, of course, significant. There are things that we want to do before we get that gold warport pass, and I don't recall as to whether next time round we will actually get to that point because that is the 5th, or if it's only after that point when it counts, so we'll see about that. As for right now, though, let's head on through, and remind me, is it this one that is technically the way we're supposed to go in? I believe so. Okay, so we know what the deal is here. One moment, sir. Please, a quick security check. We've got to make sure you're safe to pass. Don't worry, it's only a simple question. Are you planning to destroy the warport? Yes, it'll be fun. No, but maybe only if you really want me to. Okay, you seem safe. You're free to proceed. Next one. What is our question here? Same one. No, we're not planning on destroying the warport. Don't worry. How many legs do we have? 2. Don't worry about it. Perfectly normal human being. What color is blue? Just blue. It's okay. Nothing out of the ordinary. Same thing. Blue is blue. You heard it here first. Wow, they really want to ask us about that, apparently. And... I forget as to what we said last time when they asked us whether or not we thought he was attractive. You're alright? Okay, good. Okay, as for this one, why are we a terrorist? You're assuming that we are? I'm not? Okay. Should be the last one here. How many bombs? None. None. Don't worry about it. Okay, so let's head on through. And like I said, theoretically, there is a chance that we will already get the benefits of having a gold warport pass next time we go through, in which case, maybe I'll do a little bit of retroactive save work in just to make sure we get the chance to do what we're ultimately going to want to do. But let's just put that aside for the time being. So, let's head on out, and we do, of course, have something that we are looking to do, and that would be, if we could say, make it over to Soothwood. We are expecting to be able to make the potion to allow us to breathe underwater, and I don't know, this is going to be dangerous here, because we are going to face some level 1 enemies. So I don't know if Solar is ready for this, but we can try using a physical attack. Fortunately, Solar had approximately 10 times as much damage as was necessary, but it was close. I was deeply concerned. Okay, so let's make our way back over to the Shaman, who is, yes, down and around this area here. And I'm hoping that we did not forget anything, but I'm fairly certain at this stage that we do in fact have all the materials that we need. Hello again, Sir Mardek. Do you require a reminder of the ingredients that I need you to bring? Or is it something else that you need? That is perhaps a little bit concerning, because I'm pretty sure we have all of them, and I would have thought that the Shaman would have said, yes, why don't we make it right now? However, I think there's a non-zero chance that some of those items are either in item storage or on someone else's inventory at the moment, so that might be why. Okay, and I suppose we can double check just with this. 4 water essences, 6 fish scales, 1 bag of pixie dust, 1 serpent crest, 1 aquamarine. Yeah, we definitely have all that stuff. Okay, so let's just make sure we have it on us. So, for Mardek, what do you and do you not have right now? You do have the fish scales, so that's good to see. Plenty of those. We don't have, or we have some water essence, but at least not enough on you alone right now. Solar has 1 too. Why don't we just stack them so it's a little bit easier to count? And maybe just look at absolutely everyone to see who nabbed them previously. And the answer, well, I'm hoping, is that we still have enough. But, oh, here we go. Okay. It's actually Zach, who had 4 in and of himself. So there we go. Enough of those. That's 1 ingredient, 2 ingredient. One of them is the serpent crescent that we got from defeating the serpent. And then the last one is an aquamarine, which I know somebody has. Yep, Elwyn has several. Okay, so let's take one of these. And now, Mardek has everything in his own inventory. So we should be all set here. Well, Shaman, we have the ingredients. That's more what I was expecting Mardek to say. You do. Wonderful, wonderful. I'll take those and put them in this cauldron behind me. I'll now need to mix the potion. So bear with me a moment. I'm done. There is enough brew here to last a while, but I'll need to bottle it for you if you wish to take it with you. How many potions would you like? 32? Why not? Your greed will be your downfall, young one. Mark my words on this. You're probably right, Shaman, you know? Drink these potions, and you will be able to breathe water as if it were air for a limited time. This will be sufficient to travel across the bottom of Lake Quirr and get into the water temple, which, I've heard, is not submerged itself, so you'll be able to breathe once you are there. Convenient, I suppose. Return to me if ever you run out of potions, and I shall see what I can do about supplying you with more. Now, best of luck to you, young ones. Thank you, Shaman. So one thing to note here is, of course, we opted to take as many of those underwater breathing potions as possible. However, if you were feeling like you were so inclined, and here they are, Oxale, a potent concoction that allows the drinker to breathe normally underwater for a time. Water Elemental, that's pretty much all there is to it. However, if you really want to, what you can do is you can go to item storage, and you can say, dump the Oxale here, and then return to the Shaman. You have run out of potions, Here, you can have these then. Please do be more careful this time. Do not foolishly waste them. And by foolishly waste them, I mean do not put them in item storage at that save crystal right next to me that I totally didn't realize that you actually put them in, and now I'm going to continue to give you more of these. Because yes, we now have 4 more. So it's not like it's a huge deal. I think you may actually be able to sell these at shopkeepers, but it's not like they're terribly valuable, so if you're really concerned about running out, then you can continue to do that. Just pick them up from the Shaman, dump them off the save crystal. Pick up more from the Shaman, dump those off at the save crystal. Rinse, repeat. And yeah, I mean, we don't really need to, but you can. So there you have it. With that, however, that does mean that, in theory, we now have the ability to go into Lake Quirr and check out this water temple. So, let's take a look at our world map here and make our way back over to Lake Quirr. And of course, we did just set up everyone for fire enemies, and I'm guessing water enemies not going to be terribly helpful for us to have all those fire pendants on for those guys, because, yeah, they do give minus 50% water resistance, so Solar, who we put 2 of those pendants on, is quite vulnerable to water at the moment. We'll want to either swap around the party if we feel like we want to bring in some new people who haven't had the opportunity to play very much recently, or just get different items, ones that are more fitting for the situation which we're assuming we're about to find ourselves in. More potent enemies, though. They are so quick that they can beat us to the punch here. And Solar, I don't know, can you handle them? Can you exact revenge on the Wasp? No, you can't. That's what I get, I suppose, for not looking at what your resistances were. Donovan, however, he's up to the task. Uh-oh. Minus 2 defense for Mardek. We're in trouble here. Will he still take 0 damage this time? Next time he gets hit, he might take 1, so look out. Or we could crit for over 1,000 damage. Okay. So let's head on over to, I assume, the exact location in which we delved into Lake Quirr previously, is over on the other side. Technically speaking, you can actually deliberately approach Lake Quirr from the other side of the world map, and I believe that will allow you to enter the area from this right side here, which would have expedited the process a little bit, but not that that's a huge deal. If anything, this does allow us the opportunity to master up some of our passive skills with some quick and easy fights. I mean, what? These aren't easy. What are you talking about? And stockpile some potions as well. Okay, so what if, say, we tried to go underwater right now? You can jump in the lake from here, but are you ready? Yeah, sure. You're not ready at all, you liar. You can't breathe underwater like that. That is kind of true. We, of course, have not yet used the Oxale, but I was just checking, you know, like, maybe it'd still let us. Did we really need it after all? Okay, so we use the potion, and we see that now everyone has these little bubbles next to their name. That is their Oxale status of sorts, which now allows them to breathe underwater. And at least while we're on this screen here, why don't we make a point of, say, not using fire pendants? And if we have more of the water ones, that would be the logical choice to swap over to that. We do at least have some, and so for Solar, given how Solar was using all the fire ones previously, probably the most logical to swap out for you, but if we have more, then it wouldn't be a bad idea to put it on other people as well. Does the Lapis Lily also have water resistance? It does. So might that be reason to put that on, say, instead of something like the Firestone Ring, which, yes, did have some fire resistance, and also, more notably, a new skill for Donovan to learn, which he has not yet mastered. But if we are going to actually have someone like Donovan accompany us down here in Lake Horror, then we're probably going to want some water resistance on him, because, of course, he is fire elemental, and so naturally he is going to be somewhat vulnerable. There is also another water pendant here, which we could, say, throw on Mardek or Vern? Mardek, I don't recall as to whether we put you back on working on double AP, or Quarry Spirit. Oh, he definitely doesn't need that anymore, so we can get rid of that, I would think. And Mardek has not yet mastered Magic Water Resistance, so that might be one of the few magic defensive reactions he's not yet done. We could definitely take off Fire and put on Water there. Let's take a look for other people. Burn does not currently have one. Solar's actually already mastered it, so that's good to see. And Donovan, we did not opt to put one on you. Okay. Are there other things, though, like... Solar, you're fine there. However, I think we may have actually, yes, forgotten to put on the plus 10% magic damage that we were talking about previously. Yeah, you know, it would help if we have it on hand. Why not? I think that's about it, though, for the time being. So let's now jump in. We should be ready this time. We jump into the lake, dropping like stones to the bottom. Ooh. This is ominous sounding. And lots of NPCs? What? Dead Droma. It's the corpse of one of the Droma from Morik's ship. For some unknown reason, you decide to pick it up and take its mechanical arm. How eccentric of you. Okay. Yeah, it's a little odd, Mardek. And yeah, more of these Droma arms. However, say if we were to continue looking at these, is there any, perhaps, reason to look at all of them? I do wonder. Are they all the same? Well, there are certainly still enemies down here. And it's been a while since we've seen the drowned corpses, but we should be more than capable of taking them out. How are they in terms of earth weakness? Actually, they have a reasonable amount of that. Many undead enemies are somewhat resistant to earth, but these guys being sort of the water persuasion, given how we are in Lake Quirr, that does tend to mean that they'll have some earth weakness. So, Donovan, probably still best for you to just use your own normal attack. And you also see, with the status that we got from the potion, that people have bubbles around their heads. So that's kind of an interesting little touch. More Droma, yes. Still more Droma. Okay. Odd. Okay. Maybe, I suppose we did get a Droma arm from one of them. And we could theoretically go back up here where we went and fought the Lake Hag back in Chapter 2. However, this was the area where, back in Chapter 2, Emla was very concerned about us going down this route and said that we absolutely must not go in this direction. However, what will we find this time? There's, of course, no Emla to stop us. So, we will, of course, still need to go through some drowned corpses and brine areas. But that shouldn't be too big of an issue. And we might even be able to burn multiple people. Oh, burn actually does not allow you to target multiple people at once. I did not remember that. However, we can with flame. If we wanted to take multiple people out here, then we could opt to use flame. But I do kind of like the prospect of getting the chance to get closer to mastering this new ability. Drowned corpse down, and then one of these brine areas is actually going to get to go before Mardek here, so it's going to get an attack in. And it will deal precisely 0 damage, so I suppose shouldn't have been much of a concern. However, Mardek cannot hit. Maybe that's a bit more of a concern. Solar will clean things up, though. Okay, and more potions. Sure thing. So yeah, no Emla to stop us, which means we can check out what is behind this door here. And the answer is or of Lake Quir. Tunnels to Temple, though. That sounds promising. 5 chests in here, so we'll have to check those out. One of which is here. Phoenix Down. Useful, yes. Revive some allies. So, unavoidable fights. How strong are these guys going to be? They are the same types of enemies, yes. More Brine Areas, however, you'll notice the level. Previously, I think we were fighting Brine Areas in the range of 3 to 5 or so. However, these are obviously 20 and 22. It is slightly higher, I think, than what we were seeing in the Crimson Peak area. So these guys could be a little bit tough. They don't have that much HP, so that's encouraging. Also, not a ton of defenses other than a little bit of magic defense. And some fire resistance, so it's going to be a little bit tough, perhaps, for Donovan. But other than that, Earth, definitely a strong option here for Solar. So physical attacks, probably not a bad idea for that reason. Let's attack one of the ones with higher HP. Can still take him out in one hit. Good to see. Donovan, I don't remember as to exactly how much damage you were dealing with your physical attacks earlier. Let's attack one of the weaker ones. I suppose you could have hit one of the stronger ones. Still wouldn't have been a problem. Vern, you gotta be fine, right? Definitely. This one will, I assume, go before Mardek again. And still deal 0 damage, though, even though it's a higher level, so maybe no problem at all, even when they're a higher level like this. Maybe it's just that Vern's defenses are good enough. It doesn't matter. And we get more fish scales, not that we need them that much anymore. More chests, perhaps, in this direction. Just more coins. Okay. Suppose it's not a bad thing. Just over here. Heather for some NP restoration. Also useful. And then where to next? It is quite a bit of a zigzag around here. Here is another chest. Purple conch. We've seen a few of these. Let's pick it up. And that looks like a dramatic staircase of sorts. Hold on, though. More drowned corpses before we can take a closer look. So let's take him out here. And Donovan, this is probably still a chance for you to get a burn in. Not enough to take it out in one hit, but I think it's still worth taking the opportunity to get close to mastering that ability. Okay, nothing else to note there. And yeah, dramatic staircase, pillars, doorway. Excuse me? I think we're in the water temple. So, if we duck down here, and head through this door, again, very dramatic blue carpet of sorts, and new enemies. Iorb spawn? Lorb spawn? Is that an I or an L? I don't know. These guys look like the eye stalks, again, that we saw in the Dark Temple, or a water variation of them. So, they have very strong magical defense, very strong water resistance, as we probably would have assumed, bit of fire resistance, so again, probably not ideal to have Donovan in the party right now. I also don't think we're going to find that there are as many opportunities for him to remove numbness, as that was often the case in Crimson Peak, even if he wasn't as much of a damage dealer, so even as a support character, not quite as strong. So, yeah, okay. Earth is definitely still the way to go in, to a certain extent, even light. So that's good to see, because we do have 3 light characters in our party right now. And Solar also capable of doing physical attacks, and I would think that one of the ones with the highest HP might still be fair game here. It is. They are quick, though. They'll hit Donovan with the bubble. That's not really something we want to see. Uh-oh. Nor are confuses. So let's try to finish this fight before Solar gets a chance to take their turn. Otherwise, Solar is going to attack our own party, which is, of course, less than ideal. So, Donovan, maybe target the one with the lowest HP with your physical attack. Nearly takes it out. Burn, I assume. Oh, if you don't miss, that complicates matters quite considerably. Because now, sure, Mardek could take this guy out. I assume he has enough damage to do so. However, that does mean that Solar will go next and will attack someone in the party, presumably, with a confusion. Except we lucked out. Of the 4 targets Solar had the option of choosing, just so happened to choose the enemy and take it out. So, extremely lucky, yes. We did not deserve that. Again, with the long walkway. Okay, and so there's a wall here, There's a wall here, and there's a door here. So we'll make our way further through here. That's a humongous eyeball. Okay. What can we learn about it? It has a lot of HP, most notably 44 vitality. That probably has something to do with it. 30 attack, no defense, so physical attack's probably the way to go here. 10 magic defense is decent, but still not insurmountable of a barrier. And as we might have suspected, again, very resistant to water and very weak to earth, and air is not bad. However, light is actually not great, so Vern probably doing okay with his physical attacks. Mardek, not quite as much so. What do we do here? I think we use, perhaps, a physical attack with Solar. However, this is probably going to take several rounds, and therefore, might it be worth, say, doing something like a Spirit Graft on someone to power them up, or something of that sort? Maybe we'll be better off with just a physical attack, especially if we can inflict a poison. Then Donovan, I think you're also better off using a physical attack, because, well, as long as you hit, you're at least dealing your fair share of damage. Vern, you could opt to use Green Lightning. It will, of course, be extra effective for being Earth Elemental. However, I think that you're generally going to deal more damage, at least more base damage, with your physical attacks, and Air is still not a bad option, so I think that's probably still the way to go here. And that is roughly half of its AP there. I'm not sure about Mardek, though, in terms of how much damage he can deal. Obviously, he doesn't have anything in the way of magic attacks, but with 50% resistance, he can still deal 200-ish damage. And the eyeball opts to put on a shield, which does at least mean that it's not going to damage us at all. And I would assume that between Solar and mostly Vern, that we can still deal enough damage to take this guy out before it gets a chance to actually damage us. Especially if, say, Donovan can actually hit the target this time. There we go. Not so bad. Crystal Tears? What? Okay. What's the deal with those? These monster tears are infused with elemental energy. Okay. I believe they may be a crafting item, however, they sound rather odd. So we'll try to make our way further through here. However, I think we will find that there are going to be lots and lots of switches for us to hit. This does allow us to go through here. I believe that was a door that was locked mere moments ago. Chest here that looks somewhat dramatic in nature. Will this be a fight? It will not. In fact, it'll be a Phoenix down, of all things. Perhaps the very opposite of that. Angry Cods and Water Drop. Okay, yeah, those are rather aggressive-looking fish. They do go immediately after Solar, notably. And likewise, they are weak to both Earth and Air. And they actually have physical defense, but no magic defense. So, perhaps some questions as to whether it is best to use Solar's physical attack or magic attack here. Likewise, if we're thinking a little bit longer term, the Water Drops, I assume, are like the oozes that we've seen previously, and have very strong physical defense, but nothing in the way to magic defense. So, it might be best to even use a Solar Flare on a Water Drop with Solar, and just let the Angry Cods take their turn. I'm thinking that might be the way to go. Let's give that a shot. One Water Drop down. The Cod with a Splash Tackle for, wow, that is minus 10 agility. So Solar is now slow. Unfortunately, did get the chance still to take out one of those Water Drops, which I think is key. Could we still attack one with one of Donovan's fire spells? And the answer is probably not a good idea, with 90% fire resistance. What about the Cods? Could that work? 50%? Possibly. It might work. It does also lower defense, remember, so that might be helpful, just to give others the opportunity to take them out more easily. Okay, so now Vern. You could, and I think you probably should, use Green Lightning to take out the remaining Water Drop, and I'm hoping that, yes, the extra damage from it being Earth Elemental will be enough to take it out. Mardek, I'm thinking you go for the Angry Cod that has its defense lowered. I don't know if you need that additional boost or not. In fact, it's not even enough. So they will go next, and I will miss the reaction as well. So they're going to slow us down quite a bit here, but now everyone can take a turn before they go again, of course. And Mardek, healing Donovan wouldn't be the worst idea. However, I think we can probably wait until the end of this battle before doing it. Let's focus on taking them out as soon as possible. Solar, how much damage can you do with Earth attacks? Still less than Mardek, it seems. Okay, so at least they're down. Seems like thus far that was probably the toughest of battles we've seen in this area. And let's make a point of doing that healing. Okay. And if we take a look at the map, there's another switch here to flip. Yes. So let's do that. And this looks like a dead end here. So I suppose we'll head back to where we came from. And there was a door that was previously blocked by one of those barriers, so maybe now that we've flipped a couple of switches, we'll find that we can make it through there. I would hope so. Several axolotls here. We've seen the normal axolotls before in the Serpent's Cave, but axolotl chief? Not exactly sure how they differ, other than just having higher attack. 46 versus 40. So I would assume that means that, for the most part, they're going to deal more damage, and therefore might be worthwhile for us to make a point of taking them out first and foremost. So let's target it with Solar, inflict a poison, and hold on, fire resistance? None. So that might mean that this is a genuine opportunity to use Burn. Still not a ton of damage, but Numb is significant. I think we have seen axolotls opt to use, on occasion, some spells in the past, but for the most part, I think it was their physical attacks that we were most concerned about, so that's big. Might even be reason enough for us to opt to attack one of the normal axolotls rather than the axolotl chief here. Let's give that a go, because yes, Vern can take them out in one hit, and yes, the axolotl chief cannot take a physical attack on its turn when it's numb, so we lucked out there. Mardek, can you get rid of the normal axolotl here in one turn? Not quite, it is very close. Solar, I would think between the poison and your attack here, this should be enough. Definitely. Not down, but the poison will do it. So, again, Donovan, why don't you burn here? Okay. And now, yes, I suppose we could deliberately take a turn, take this guy out for certain. Not have to wait for the poison. And in case you didn't think we had enough yet, we'll take a bone axe from those guys too. Let's head back to this room. And, does look like the room to the right is blocked. However, up to the north may not be. And look at this! This is an object called a miasmal chalice. When you defeat monsters in this temple, their dark essence is added to this chalice, filling it. Fill it with 100 essences, and you can take it as your own. Much like we saw with the Dark Temple, there is also a miasmal chalice here in the Water Temple. So it's only 11% full now, we can't take it yet, but that is something that we'll want to pick up soon, and another familiar face. Hello! I somehow managed to swim underwater, even while carrying me huge sack of goods, and made it into your temple. Impressive, eh? I'll go anywhere, me. The sky's the limit. And even then. Want to see me wares, friend? Perhaps you are at the very least someone we could, say, sell all of our bone axes to, which might not be the worst idea, because I don't know how many we have in our inventory right now, but I have to imagine we have more in item storage somewhere. Even if we don't, we know it's fairly simple to pick them back up. So, other than that, at one point in time, you were, yes, selling sapphire bangles, which would be very helpful. We are extremely close to being able to afford this. The additional water resistance in the Water Temple, I feel like, probably be quite handy for us. What if, say, we were to sell, I don't know, some crafting items that we have accumulated a reasonable amount of? Or other items that just tend to drop fairly often? For example, I don't know, something like, we did pick up some fish scales recently. I'm not sure those are going to be worth all that much, but honestly, we need so little here that if we were just to sell a big creepy eye, that's almost enough. Or bitter leaf. I think that is one of those regents that we could theoretically purchase from shamans. But we do also have some zombie dust here, which we could sell just a couple of, and that would be enough. So I think that is significant, because getting another source of water resistance in here Sounds like that'd be helpful. So we'll do it. Thank you, Go. And we take a look at our map here. I think we will find that we do have a save crystal in here. However, we'll have this fight first, and is another one of those large, unsettling eyeballs. So remind me, it has magic defense? Yes, a little bit of magic defense. So I think that means, yeah, Solar, use your physical attacks here. You poisoned early last time, not this time. That's a little bit unfortunate. Still worth a burn? Maybe, maybe not. Might be preferable if Paladin were to just use a physical attack and deal as much damage as possible. Burn, I think you were the primary damage dealer with your own physical attack, especially if you crit. In fact, Mardek might be able to finish you off here. Oh, just shy. If Solar had landed, a poison would have been enough. Fortunately, the Eye Orb uses a shield rather than an attack, so should be able to take it out without having taken any damage. However, of course, we're one step away from the save crystal, so not that that's a huge concern. More crystal tears? Okay, maybe that's something we could be selling to Go for a little bit of coins, but with that being said, we are now at the save crystal, and I think we'll find this is more or less the hub of the water temple. So, with that, this is a good place for us to stop off here, and what else are we going to find in the water temple? I would assume the water crystal, and we'll see if we can waltz right in and take it, or if there are any tricks or traps that might make matters a little more difficult.